Hello and welcome to Roadmap 2019, our platform for in-depth interaction with Nigeria's major political actors in the run-up to the general elections next year. I am Ladi Akiridoluale. Thanks for being with us. My guest on today's edition is a staunch member of the group known as NPDP in the All Progressives Congress, the APC. He says the group's cry about marginalization needs to be addressed speedily. He denies any knowledge about those who allegedly carried out the fatal Offa bank robbery and asks security agencies, particularly the police, to synergize with all critical stakeholders to enhance their work. Now, please join us as we speak to the governor of Kwara State, Abdul Fattah Ahmed. Your Excellency, thank you very much for agreeing to speak with us on Roadmap 2019.
Thank you very much, too. You're most welcome.
Let me begin with something that is national in orientation and has created quite a bit of noise, if that's the word. This whole issue about what started out as a cultism case in your state and then suddenly developed some level of wings and it became an armed robbery case. And then the surprising part of it, of course, was that somehow it then got to involve you and the Senate President, Dr. Bukola Saraki. Now, how did this come about, if you know? And then where do things stand at the moment?
Thank you very much. I think the issue of security, as it is today in Nigeria, is a very critical situation, which must take all the necessary attention in place. Because if you look at it vividly, Nigeria as it were today is challenged, especially in the northernmost part of the country, northeast, northwest, and of course in the central part of the country where we have pockets of herdsmen, farmers clashes. Of course we have robberies, we have kidnapping, or whatnot. To sum it up, we are truly challenged in terms of our security today. And I think that what we should concern ourselves about today is trying to see how to curb this insecurity. If you have a close look at the president's theme of driving governance, security came at a top level.
Number one.
Number one. Because you need a secured environment before you can truly drive growth and development. As it were in Kwara, we've had a harmonious environment, cosmopolitan and very receptive. And of course we have our own share of pockets of crimes here and there, inclusive of cultism. Mm-hmm. The armed robbery issue had come in pockets in the past. We've had where cities like Umaron, Share, and some other areas have been attacked, inclusive of Offa. You see, Ilorin is the main economic nerve center of Kwara. And Offa is the second largest city in Kwara,
yes,
and truly much more commercial than most other cities aside from Ilorin. And as a government, I owe it a responsibility to ensure protection of lives and properties. And in the process, I'm also expected to drive economic growth to ensure that our youths are genuinely employed, create entrepreneurship, and of course deploy goods and services through infrastructural support. All this we've articulated and have marshaled out and have been driving accordingly. We've set up lots of youth development programs. We found ourselves in a situation where our youths have truly gotten to levels where they are not able to secure jobs. The human capital development, of course, has a disconnect, in terms of need and what they are going through in training. And our efforts to create a platform that will see our youths gainfully employed through self-driven entrepreneurship, supported by a special purpose vehicle we put in place under the Small and Medium Enterprise Scheme, has truly begun to get to fusion levels. We've set up institutions to help drive this. We also created a platform where our youths will begin to get support through, skill acquisition and funding as such. However, you see, when this whole issue of robbery came up, it was something that we don't expect to see.
Especially with so much loss of life,
Exactly.
and so much damage.
Damage and other things. For us, what confronted us was that, look, what sort of thing is happening again? In the face of other daunting challenges, which we felt that should not be coming in at this material time. It's bad enough that the economy is just recovering. And also our youth are just getting up to see what they can do with themselves. Now, getting to see these kind of things, especially attacking OFA, nerve center of commercial activities for that access, was truly disturbing. And we set all machineries in motion to ensure that it's not only nib and bud, but also we avoid a future recurrence. The police did a swift job, and I commend the Inspector General of Police with that activity of being able to get the major culprit of the crime.
Who happened to be an ex-policeman.
Who happened to be an ex-policeman. And we thought that this was going to be a quick area of sorting out justice, where the case will be taken to court and justice will take its course. Unfortunately, we found ourselves where we're seeing muzzle flexing resulting into frame-ups to the extent that the number 3 citizen of this country and myself are being said to be indicted in a robbery case, which is very unfortunate. And it got a lot of media hype, which ordinarily should not be the issue. Because I thought that we are faced with a serious challenge where an ex-police officer got involved in armed robbery. Under what circumstances did that happen? Who is this Michael Adiku? How did he get recruited into the police force? What were his characters before then? Who supervised his recruitment into the police force and his deployment to several areas? Who checked his background? How did he access arms? How did he access explosives? How many more Adikus do you have in the system? Was it a recruitment error? How many more agencies, security agencies, have Adikus like that in them? I think these are the areas we should give serious thought and begin to look at how we can truly safeguard lives and properties. Because this whole idea of changing the focus to frame-ups and begin to create sensational stories is not going to help issues. You see, the IG is faced with a serious security challenge in all parts of Nigeria. And I think this time is more auspicious than ever for him to build bridges with the communities, with various institutions, to strengthen the police force that should be seen to be apolitical and should be responsible to the people. Because you see, if you keep burning bridges, burning relationships that you should create to enable this policing work to work well, then we are in a very serious problem. Because I'm sure the president meant well when he said security is very germane to his administration. And the president meant well when he set up all the security challenges to ensure that they all play their roles. The president cannot be everywhere. I'm sure the president is not interested in frivolities that are tied with frameworks, frame-ups. He's interested in nibbling this thing in the bud and avoiding a future occurrence. Now, what is the impact of what police has done now? You see, robbery happened in Omaron. The police has not been able to give confidence to the people of Omaron and the banks to come and resume work. As it is, the economic activity there has been slowed down. Ditto Share. Now we have offer. The people are looking forward to a police force that will come and tell them that, yes, we've nipped this in the bud and will not have a future recurrence.
Come back to your duties.
Come back to your duties and come and do your work. But if we are busy driving self-egos through creating sensational stories, trying to induce media trials, we will not be helping the situation.
Have you been contacted at all by the police? I know there are some who said, you know, you have immunity, so they can't come to you yet until probably you finish your tenure. But have they come to you at all for even clarification to find out if indeed there could be any kind of Do you know this person or these persons or anything like that? Did they?
Unfortunately, no, and I read it in the media just the way you read it too. And I feel very pained because I feel that a situation where we have grievous issues like this, you go to a national television that is seen internationally, and you make very serious statements, as serious as indictments of senior citizens of this country. And we're not driving the critical focus that will nip this crime in the bud. I think we should begin to look at more seriously how we should begin to take security issues. Because, as it were, the economy of Kwara is highly dependent on commercial activities. And this is the reason why we re-engineered our internally generated revenue. Because a slowdown in the economic activities in Ofa is a slowdown on our revenue collections, and is a slowdown on our capacity to deploy goods and services to the people. So it is only laughable to see and hear that I will be involved, or the Senate President will be involved in a process that will be counterproductive to what we are putting resources in to ensure that the lives and activities of people change for the better. So I think we must begin to look more seriously at those issues that should change the economic situation in Nigeria and reform the security position to give more confidence and comfort to the people.
Have you been in touch, have you spoken to Dr. Saraki about this? I mean, apart from, because he did tell the country that you were the one who raised the alarm to him, that you were the one who gave him first-hand information that this is coming. It looks like this is what is going to happen. This is what is being planned. And of course, but since then, have you been in touch with